In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how to go about creating chevron letters. And it's actually a pretty straightforward process if you follow kind of a system. So what we're going to do is grab our text tool here in CorelDRAW, type out our letter M, as in Mary. And then what we're going to do is go into our font manager here in EasyStone, just because we can, and search for the font Freshman. Click on it, and that will change our letter M here. Now I want to make this approximately 9.5 inches wide. Approximately. And there we go. Alright, so here's what I want to do. I want to take the bottom here of my letter M and just place it right in the center of one of those stones. So again, I'll tell you what, let's take our letter M and convert it to curves first. And then we can take that center node right there, that node, and drop it right there. Find the center point of that stone, there it is, and drop it. Alright, now what we want to do is we want to see where this letter M is. So let's pull down a guideline here in relationship to the top stone. So you can see we're not off by much. So what I would do is I would have this M die right there, dead center on that stone. Just because I think it'll actually work a little bit better. Alright, so we'll go ahead and do that. Now we do need to turn on Snap to Guides if it's not already turned on. And see now that top of that letter M is going to snap right there to the very center of that stone. So now we can go ahead and continue. Now it doesn't matter what you're reading the tabloids. I'm telling you, there is a system for rhinestone design. If you understand the system, it's not too complicated most of the time. Well, the most fundamental rhinestone design technique is to make sure that you have a bucket before you try to fill the bucket with water. Okay? So you must have a container before you have a fill. You do not create a fill and hope it fits in the container. That's not the way to do it. So anytime you're doing a rhinestone fill, you must have a container. So what we're going to do first of all is create our container. Alright, so we're going to double click on our M. That will take us into our shape edit tool. We're going to select our entire M. That will select every node in our M. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and set our fill color here in our form to hot pink. There it is, hot pink. Alright, and then we're going to set our stone size to SS10 and hit add stones. And you can see we have now added stones and we have created a container. Now from here we're going to take a hard look at some things to make sure that our container is sufficient to hold the water. And just by looking at this, it looks pretty good. I'm pretty satisfied with how this came out. So I would select my entire container. I'm going to delete our stone paths and I'm going to check for stones overlaps. I found a few. Go ahead and dispose of those, and now we have our container ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and group that together here, and then of course we have our chevron pattern. We're going to go ahead and take our chevron pattern and we're going to group it as well. Alright, so now we have both of these items grouped. We're going to select them both, hold our shift key and hit C and E. Okay, and now that puts our M right on top of our pattern. Now here's the other thing that we want to take a look at. We want to make sure that this, you can see it's not quite, right? It's not quite matching. We want to make sure that actually matches. But we can kind of decide how we want this to look. For example, I might want to take this and move it right there, and so that this peak comes right there. You know, we can decide however you want to do it, wherever you want it to die. You know, that's really up to you. I might move this down to here. Maybe even, I'm just going to use my arrow keys to fine tune the placement, because I don't know. I guess I'll leave it like that. I think that'll actually work out just fine. And I think I'll be happy with this. Yep. So we're going to go ahead and leave it like that, okay? So then the next thing we want to do is ungroup our chevron pattern. So we hit ungroup that. So there's our ungrouped chevron pattern. And then we just need to get rid of everything that is not inside of our container. Now, here's the other thing too. Because of this particular letter is symmetrical, we only have to do half of it. So no sense in overworking ourselves. So I'm just going to come in here and delete half of our letter right out the gate. We're just going to delete half of it. Sometimes you might have to zoom in here just to get the exact selection of objects you want. So let's just zoom in a little bit tight here. There we go. And we got a few more. So that takes care of that half. Let's go ahead and ungroup our letter M and get rid of the other half that we don't need. Okay. So we'll get rid of that and that. All right. So now we can go ahead and get rid of anything that sits outside of our letter M. That'll be the first task. So we're just going to come in here. I'll tell you what we should do. For simplicity's sake, let's go ahead and do a check spacing. Okay. Any stones that are kind of intersecting of our M, it's going to get rid of those first. So we'll go ahead and dispose of those. And you can see it did a pretty good job of that. And so now we can select what's left. Okay. So we go ahead and get rid of that. And these stones here, we'll go ahead and use our freehand pick tool because we can pick stones up at an angle, like so. Let me go ahead and delete that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that. Okay, so we just go all the way up this angle here. Now here, you can see there's a stone missing, so we'll just grab one, right-click, and take these three in horizontal spacing. And then we come over here. We'll grab these and all the way down. So anything that's outside of our letter M, we're just going to dispose of. So we'll go ahead and make a selection here, down here, any. So then I'll probably switch to go back to my freehand pick tool just to come in here and get what I can here quickly. We'll go ahead and delete all those. And then I can come in here and just kind of delete these little stragglers here. And all I'm doing is clicking on them and hitting my delete key on my keyboard. Alright, so that takes care of the bulk of the work. And now it's just a matter of coming in here and making a few changes. So like we'll drop this down to an SS6, squeeze it in. And this here, we'll go ahead and probably drop it down to an SS6. Here, we'll just pull it back a little bit away from the border. And we're going to select this stone at that angle. Hold your shift key and hit S. That selects the two stones in between automatically, and then right click. So we might go ahead and drop that to a 6, pull it back, S, right click, and then you can kind of see how that works. So this one will pull forward, select them, S, right click. This one will pull back a little bit, select that, S, right click. This one will pull forward a little bit, select them both, right click. Same thing here, we'll pull this one forward a little bit. S, right click. That one's good. This one will push back a little bit. And you'll see how quickly this really comes together for you. We'll pull this one back here a little bit. And I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just delete that one. Pull that one forward. Select and right click. Same thing here. We'll pull this forward a little bit. Select, right click. This one, let's go ahead and drop it down to a 6. Let's drop this one to a 6. We'll drop this to a 6. And we'll try and squeeze one in there. There we go. That'll work. Don't worry about this overlap. I'm not concerned about that at all. That'll cut and brush in just fine. So we'll go ahead and pull this back just a tiny little bit. go back this way with it, right click, and then we'll kind of just follow the same procedure all the way down the line. That one looks good. Pull that back a little bit. Right click. Pull this one back, it's just a little bit. Come all the way down. That looks good. Pull this one back a little bit. Right click. Now here at this corner we got to do something. Let's drop in an SS6 there. And I think I'll delete this one. See if we can't refinagle these. Let's move that to a 6 and this to a 6. And that should fit in there okay, like that. Might want to pull this one forward a little bit. See, we'll go ahead and reorganize that one just a little bit there. So this one here we'll go ahead and delete. Pull that forward just a little bit. Select all in between and then right click to select all in between and then right click to respace at an angle evenly. Select and right click. This one will pull forward just a smidge. Select all in between. And this one too will pull forward just a little bit. Even the spacing out. This one will push back a little bit. Select and right click. Same thing here, we have to push that back just a tiny bit. Oops, accidentally simulated those. Didn't mean to do that. I meant to right click on H. This probably should drop to a 6. It's a little bit tight spacing there. Same thing here, that should probably drop to a 6 as well. I think we'll just leave that like it is. Pull this back a little bit. So we'll go ahead and push this up. Push this back a little bit. Same thing here, push that back all the way. Let's resort those stones, go in that direction. Pull this back a little bit. Select, right click, and respace those stones pretty good. Let's pull over an SS6, I guess. Wouldn't hurt. Push this up a little bit. Select all in between and right click. Same thing here, push that one up a little bit. Select and right click in between. I think we'll drop this one to a 6 and we'll leave that one. We'll drop this one to a 6. I don't know, maybe we'll make that a 6 too. What the heck? And decisions here. Let's go ahead and make this a 6. And I think I'll leave it at that. Push this back a little bit. Select an H. Push this back a little bit. Select all in between and H. I'm just right clicking on H to respace those selected stones at an angle. So you select that first stone and the last stone in the line. It selects everything in between and then right click. Very repetitive, but pretty easy to do. So now we need to go back the other direction. We're going to pull that back a little bit. Select all of those and respace them. Pull this back a little bit. Select all of those and respace them. So you can see the process is pretty straightforward, especially when you have your bucket. If if you don't have your bucket, to me the process becomes much more complicated. But if you know where that border is, makes it pretty easy to get these stones arranged the way they need to be. And this is the quickest way that I have discovered. Well, the quickest way with the best results, you know. So there's always that, well, maybe you can get it done quicker another way, but then maybe the results aren't as perfected, I guess you could say. So it just depends on the situation, what you're doing. But you can see it's a pretty simple process. Every single line, we're just selecting and right-clicking. Pulling it back. Selecting and right-clicking. Now we did use a few SS6s along the way, but I think those will help enhance the overall design anyhow. So you could choose to use all SS10s. The process is the same. Or if you want to throw in a few SS6s in there, which I think will make the design look a little bit nicer, then you also have that option as well. So every single one of these, basically we're pulling it back the exact same amount, selecting, right-clicking, and then just resorting those stones all the way down the line. And you'll get a pretty perfected result as a result. So we'll pull that back. Okay, so then here we can just delete that stone. Let's set this to SS6 because it's kind of conflicting there. So I think that'll work, and maybe what I'll do is I'll just fit in 2 there. Works for me. Alright. We'll go ahead and push these back a little bit. A little bit too close for comfort next to the border there. So we've got the room. We'll just push them back from the border a little bit. These I think will drop to 6s. And obviously this is going to have to drop to a 6 as well. And see if we can, I guess we'll see if we can fit. I guess that works. Right there. And there. So we'll pull this back a little bit yet. Seems like you're always going from one angle to the next. Let's go ahead and drop a 6 there. Pull that back a little bit. Now we gotta go the other direction, this way too. Okay, and we'll pull this back. Pull this back. Alright, so this will make into an SS6, I think. And this will make into an SS6. And this will make into a 6. This will just go ahead and delete. That will go ahead and make a 6, maybe. I guess. Maybe we'll do the same thing here. Go that route. Pull this up a little bit. Right click. Pull that back a little bit. We're getting near the end here. Going all the way around. Pull that forward a little bit. Pull this back. So some stuff obviously we're pulling forward, some stuff we're pushing back. This we're going to pull this forward. Just kind of making it up as we go along. This will pull forward. And there we go. So now our M is complete. At least half of it is. Let's see if we could fit an SS6 in here. I guess we can. Alright, so now that we have half of it, we can go ahead and flip it. See, there's some stones up here we don't need. So we'll flip it over, right click to mirror it, and we'll pick it up from center of stone to center of stone, which that takes care of that. We'll go ahead and get rid of any overlapping stones. So we'll hit check spacing. 19 overlapping stones. Let's go ahead and throw a weed box. And there is your completed chevron letter M. So you can see it is pretty straightforward. We only have to create half of our M, and then we can just mirror it, create the other half. So I hope that gives you some insight on how to properly create your chevron letters, and I hope you give this project a try with different letters and see if what you can't accomplish. But the process is exactly the same no matter what letter you're working with. Thanks for watching.